people don't even know your story. You're a California native.
That's right.
And what college did you go to?
I went to UC Irvine.
Oh,
Because I
shit.
grew up in the Valley. Well, I went there for a few reasons. I wanted to go to Berkeley. My mother had gone to Berkeley, and she was always saying how great it was. And it's a great school. So my dad says, no, you'll turn into a hippie. It was in like 1976. So then a guy, Steve Marylander, in my class said, I heard Irvine has a good drama department. I'd done plays in high school. And I was thinking I want to do that. So I went down there and checked it out and loved it. And I had a girlfriend at the time, and it was only an hour away from home, so I could still see her, but not have to live at home. So I went there. Can you stop farting? So I went there, and thank God I went there. Though it turned out it was the exact best place for me.
You did 4 years? Why was it the best place?
Well, at the time, like now there's 40,000 students at Irvine, but at the time it was only 10 years old, the school. There was maybe 10,000 students, 90 were drama majors. And I said, how many plays can I do a year? They go, how many do you want to do? It was unlimited budget. So, like say at UCLA or the schools, you couldn't do a play till you were a junior in your third year. There, they didn't care. You could do it whenever. So I ended up doing 21 plays.
Wow.
So it was a great experience. And then I had great teachers, all my teachers, Robert Cohen and Ashley Carr, they were from Yale. They're MFAs from Yale, which was like the two best drama schools in the country, or everyone said at the time was Juilliard and Yale. So I had teachers trained at Yale. Then I had William Needles, who was a founding member of the Stratford Festival in Canada, which was like the second best repertory company, Shakespearean repertory company in the world behind the Royal Shakespeare Company, but great actors. And he was just fantastic. And, I was like 18 or 19 and he was, 60 but he was like a father figure to a lot of kids. He was really a very kind man, and we became very close. And I loved the guy. And then he taught me Shakespeare and would play records for me and of John Gielgud doing Shakespeare. And he was like a wonderful man. And I'd see him, after college and talk to him, and just the nicest guy and a great actor. He would do theater with, Maggie Smith.
Of course. Prunella Scales.
She would talk about Bill Neals and say, oh, he was a huge influence on me. He was a great actor and teacher, and very lucky to have him in his life. So Irvine, they would bring these great teachers there to teach for a quarter or this, and he was one of them. So it was really great.
After that, then did you go to Groundlings?
No, then I didn't know what to do. And a friend of mine, Mike Sabatino, graduated 3 months before me. I said, what do we do? And he said, well, Los Angeles, everything's filmed, so I'm taking a class for the camera. So I went to this place where he was, Film Actors Workshop, did that for a year and a half. Wasn't getting anywhere, but it was great that I did it. I learned a ton. Then I went to, and it is different, then I went to New York for 11 months, and I did the Renaissance Fair. I got an audition through a friend of mine, Laura Heller. She was the assistant director to the, and she was a friend from college, and guy Christy Matheson, he helped me get in New York, get a job at a restaurant as a waiter, and I was horrible.
Oh boy.
And then my friend Mark was living there, and I was roommates from college, and so I had a lot of friends from college already there. And but I did that Renaissance Fair. Then I did met a bunch of people from there, and auditioned, got to play in a non-equity theater. It was an Oscar Wilde play, Lady Windermere's Fan, and it was called the Nameless Theater. I think it had 88 seats.
In New York?
Yeah, in New York. So back then, they had all these equity waiver theaters, meaning they could do plays if they were 99 seats or less. And Actors Equity is the union for the stage. So they go, it's a waiver. We can waive it. You don't have to be in the union if it's 99 seats or less if you're doing a show.
Yeah. It's like SAG low
But
budget.
I didn't get anywhere. So finally I went and came back and started the Groundlings. I knew about it when I was 20. And Lisa Kudrow on Friends. I grew up with her family.
I want you to, if you want to tell that story, why don't you tell that story?
Well, we moved to Tarzana, and then I met David, her brother David, who was my age. And Lisa's like 6 years younger than me. So David and I became like best friends, and then I would always be at his house, and then Lisa was his sister. She was like 5, when I met her. So, and then they have another older sister, Helene. So Helene was working for Larry Thompson, who's a big manager. This guy Dave Stewart. So she said Dave will meet with you. So I met with David, and he said when I was 20, he goes, go to the Groundlings. There's a guy there named Paul Rubens. He does a midnight show as his character, Pee Wee Herman. It's the hottest thing in town. You should see it. See what's going on.
Wow. So this is like 82, 83.
You don't have a mute button.
Do I need one?
When I was 20, no, this would have been in 77. So I went to the midnight show, see Paul Rubens doing Pee Wee. Wasn't on TV, he was doing it there. He did it in the Groundlings, and it was so popular they gave him a whole show. Midnight show. And I went, and it was just crazy funny. I mean, hysterically funny. The audience was dying. I was dying laughing. So I called the next day. I didn't know who he was until later, Tom Maxwell. I go, do you guys have classes? Yeah, come on down. He's from North Carolina. I don't know, it scared me, so I didn't go. He was so loud. He was just being so friendly and stuff. I was like, whoa, this is... But anyway, I ended up going after New York 5 years later, and I came back from New York, and I lived... David had a condo he was living in Canoga Park, so I had an extra bedroom, so I moved there at first. And I go, I'm going to go to the Groundlings. I'm going to be a comedian. That's what I'm doing. And I had nothing... I hadn't had any jobs, and I remember his dad said, I can get you to meet this agent. And I'd worked at a clothing store, and the Diane, Rick Pallet clothing store. Rick was a patient of my father's. He was a doctor, and he goes, I can get you a job at Rick, his apartment. He's selling clothes, so I worked there, and Diane's husband was a lawyer and said, I can get you as an extra in a movie. You can get SAG. It was called Metal Storm. So I did it just to get, into SAG. But that's all I had. I met with the agent, nothing. Jack Fields. And I think his daughter is, what's her?
Sally Fields.
No.
Freddie Fields.
No, the mother, Meredith.
Ted Fields.
No, the mother on,
Meredith,
Michael J. Fox sitcom.
Meredith Baxter Burney.
Yeah.
What about her?
I think it was her father.
His last name was Fields.
Yes.
Her name was Burney.
Burney was her married name. She married David Burney.
David Baxter Burney.
No.
Fields.
No.
Burney.
Bernie Brillstein. So I met with him, but he was nice, but I couldn't do anything. So anyway, I get on the freeway in the valley to go to the Groundlings, and I go on the on-ramp. Now I'm driving, I'm sobbing. I was so scared.
You were crying?
Yeah, crying. I was sobbing.
Why?
Because I just said I was so scared.
Of what?
Of committing to being a comedian. No one was telling me to do it. I teach go, you're funny, you should focus on comedy, but I go, I'm going to really do it. No one knew who I was. I didn't have any jobs, nothing. Like, I'm going to be a comedian because I'm thinking, well, what if it doesn't work out? I wasted, a lot. You don't know what's going to happen. with your life choices. Now, do you? No.
No.
So I go to the Groundlings, and I got on stage and did some improv, and then the teacher, Randy Bennett, goes, well, that was from Waco, Texas. Well, that was good, but you could have done this. You could have been funny like this. You could have done this. You could have. And it was the first time, you know, a teacher's not saying, stop it, quit goofing around, be quiet, nothing. They're like encouraging me. Here's ways to be funny. Here's another way to be funny. Basically, fuck around. You can fuck around like this. You can fuck around like this. You know, you're the class clown. They go, here's some other clown techniques. Here's some other jokes you can do. Here's another way. I went, oh my God, I'm in heaven. This is it. I was in heaven.
So the minute you did the first one,
and
you
I
knew.
took notes. Another friend of mine I grew up with, his father was great actor Tig Andrews. He was on Captain Greer and Mod Squad, you know, in the 60s, and he was a big Broadway actor, and he was helping me, and I said, I'm going to the Groundlings, and he goes, well, you know, John, you get out of it what you put into it. You know, a lot of kids go and they just goof around. He goes, you got to take it serious if you really, you know. All right. So I took notes every class, and I typed them up, and at the end I said, teacher, here. He goes, what's this? I go, your class. He's like, what? And he's looking at it all the time. Oh, my God. No one's ever done this. You know, that's how into it I was. But I was serious. It wasn't like you. I was serious about it.
How long
It's
did you...
really hard, you know, Jamie. People forget. It's so competitive. And then once you get in, it's even harder. I got on Saturday Night Live. I had to work even harder. I was like, what the? I thought I could, like, ease up. No, harder.
Because
it never stops.
Yeah, I know.
Jamie, I'm very grateful for, you know, everything I have. But it's not easy.
I agree. Do you want me to call a doctor?
No, I'm fine.
Did you really test for COVID?
Yeah, but I don't have it.
Okay.
But, you know, people don't take it seriously.
How long did you do Groundlings? 4 years?
4 years?
Yeah.
Are you insane?
I don't know.
Well, back then, they had classes, and you could work your way up. So there was beginning, level, intermediate, and advanced. And I went right through the classes. They had to move you up, and I moved right up, but there wasn't enough people. So they go, well, the next intermediate class will be in 3 weeks, or in 6 weeks we'll be starting a new advanced. It wasn't like it was, you know.
It should be. I'm sure it's
so
quick.
That took about over time. I went through the classes. Each one was like 6 weeks. I went right through, but it took about a year. And then I got in the Sunday company for a year and a half, and then I got in the main company in September of '84.
So that's like 4 years.
And I'm skipping over all the work I did, writing, you know, not getting paid, writing. And then, no, it wasn't 4 years, about 2.5 years. And then I got in the main company in '84 of September. And then January of '85, the Groundlings had a new show, and I was doing my liar character and other stuff. We got great reviews in the Hollywood Reporter. And then about third week in March, everybody's calling me, congratulations. About 20 messages congratulating me. And I'm thinking, but no one is saying for what. I have no idea what they're congratulating me for. John, that's really great. Congratulations. I'm really happy for you. On and on.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea. So on Monday, I called Tom Maxwell. I go, Tom, what's going on? Everyone's congratulating me. For what? He goes, we're going on the Tonight Show. I go, who? He goes, you and Tim Stack, you're doing a liar piece. They want you in the truck driver's piece, and Don Woodard and Mindy Sterling and Kate Benton for the White Man's Rap. I go, we are? Yeah, when? He goes, Thursday. Thursday? Oh, my God. He goes, I know. Can you? We're both just screaming. I go, how did this even happen? I had no idea that on Saturday, Jim McCauley, who's in charge of booking all the comics for the Tonight Show, was there at the Groundlings. Everyone knew. I didn't.
It's better that you didn't.
Right. I had no idea. I go, what? So then Thursday comes. We go there, and we're in the commissary. I go, Tom, what am I going to do? The liar. I go, half the time it works, and half the time it doesn't at the Groundlings. Because if they didn't get the joke of the first 2 lines, it didn't work. If they got the joke of the first 2 lines, it worked. Well, what were the first 2 lines? All right, I'll tell you. Jesus, where did you get your knickers in a twist? So what I said, Jamie.
I'm listening to you.
I know. I said, it goes, hello, my name is Tommy Flanagan, and I'm a member of Pathological Liars Anonymous.
Okay.
In fact, I'm the president of that organization. Well, at first they didn't get it, it didn't work. Anyway, I go out on the stage. So you understand, this is like an inside joke between a friend of mine and I. Now I'm out there, and the Groundlings is 99 seats, so the back wall is maybe, 50, 60 feet away. It's small. Now I'm in a theater. The Tonight Show is like 380 seats, way bigger than it is now in New York because it was a much bigger studio, right? And it just looked like the seats went up to heaven. I mean, it just looked gigantic. And I said, so I'm out there, and I said, director, where do I look? Because it's such a big thing. He goes, just play to camera. Look right in the camera. Okay. Thank God he told me that, because it had me focus. But now that's about 3:30. So anyway, now I'm like, or 4 or whatever. They go, okay, go to makeup, right? So I go to the makeup room, and I'm still worried as shit. Like, is it gonna work? Are they gonna get it? I'd never done this on television. I had one job when 3 years before, when I was 25, on this show, The Paper Chase, the second year. But it was an acting job, and nothing since. Nothing before that, and nothing since. And this is my second time on television in my life. So anyway, I'm worried about. I'm in the makeup room, and who's in the makeup room? Jack Lemmon, getting his makeup on, the great actor, and he's being interviewed by Morley Safer from 60 Minutes.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is that world where those people live in that I've, heard about my whole life. I go, they're like in another world, and here I'm in it. Look, somehow this is part of it, right? And I'm going, oh my God, this is where they live, or they are. So anyway, I hear Morley Safer say to Jack Lemmon, so in your 40 years of acting, what have you learned? And Jack Lemmon says, well, the one thing I've learned is keep it simple. So I hear that and I go, that's my answer. Keep it simple. Okay. So then I was like relieved. I got my answer. So then I went out to do it, and I did it, and it went well. And then at the end I go, so if you're out there listening and you want to stop your habit of lying, give us a call. We have meetings every week at my house in Jamaica. But when I was saying that, I'm like, if you're out there listening, I'm thinking, so if you're out there listening and you need an actor, you want to hire him, like, hello, call me,
Subliminal.
So, and then that led to, I knew the agent, Mike Eisenstadt, who was an assistant. Now I'd become an agent. I knew him for 3 years, and he's like, I finally convinced him to sign you now. And then I said, look, can you get me extra work on soaps? Because I don't have any money. And soaps pay like $90 a day. And I was making maybe, $5.45 a day. So he goes, you don't want to do that. He goes, I'll think about it. And if tomorrow you want to do it, he goes, but I'm telling you, I wouldn't do it. I think you should wait. 3 weeks, there'll be all these auditions. So I called him the next day and I said, okay, I'll wait. And then I ended up, he got me all these auditions and I got everything I auditioned for.
No.
Yes.
Like what? Wow.
So the same day, I got a movie with Charles Grodin and a recurring role on a sitcom on CBS, Foley Square, that Diane English did. She later did Murphy Brown and then Foley Square. I did 2 shows. They had an order of 6 shows. I did 2. And then Diane goes, come to the third taping of the 3rd show. So I went. She goes, we're putting you in the next 3. I go, oh, great. So then I got that. And then I got this movie with Charles Grodin. And then I was in one scene. And then he goes, I want to put him in more. And I learned, I don't care how big your part is. You go all out. And if you do that, they'll put you in more. That's what was happening to me.
No small parts, just.
Well, there are small parts,
But you made it your own.
Yeah, they kept, And then, and they were both character parts. One, I was a French guy in the movie. Dokenze, you was Dokenze, the bartender. And the other one, I was talking like Mo, how you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing about the character I did on Foley Square, my friend, she knew this actor, right? And he goes, hey, when you come over here, I'll turn you in, make you feel like a woman. And he always talked like this. So I never met the guy, but I was imitating him, right? Sure enough, that same actor, I saw Murphy Brown. It was the same characters that were in Foley Square. Just a different setting, but it was the same.
Oh, wow.
So the guy that would have, they cast him. They didn't know I was imitating him, but they cast him. And it was Bobby, God bless his soul, I passed away. Bobby, he's a very fine actor, but the painter, Elwood, the painter?
Mm-hmm.
Bobby, and that's who my friend was talking about, who I'd never met, but she was imitating him.
And you did a version of that.
I was imitating this guy she told me about, and he got the same part on Murphy Brown, but it was him. Isn't that funny?
That's wild.
And then I met him. I told him that. I didn't know you, but I was doing you, imitating you.
And what did he say?
He laughed. I go, isn't that funny? I go, what a small world. And then they hired you for Murphy Brown. And then
So then you just got an audition through your agent for SNL?
Well, I got the movie with Charles Grodin. Yeah.
What was
after
that
the
movie
Tonight
called?
Show, huh?
What was that movie?
Last Resort.
Oh, okay. I remember that.
Roger Corman's wife, Julie Corman, produced it.
Okay.
So then, I can't. So then, they were. It was all over the news, the paper. Lorne Michaels is coming back to Saturday Night Live. So Mike, my agent, goes, hey, what about Saturday Night Live? I'm like, yeah, right. He goes, no, I'm serious. I want to submit your tape. And he kept going on about it. I go, will you shut up? He goes, no, I'm serious. I go, Mike, I have a better idea. Why don't I land on Pluto? Why don't I do that? He goes, no, I'm serious. I go, all right, well, you just shut up about. He goes, well, I'm gonna do. I go, then go ahead, do whatever you want. I go, you're being ridiculous, because to me it was like Pluto. That is another world.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what? Come on, are you crazy? Well, I got to move Charles Grodin. I was supposed to meet Lauren. I got auditioning. I met Franken and Davis. They came to a scene night at the Groundlings. I was doing my master thespian character, a scene. No one's laughing except Al. Thank God. I could hear him because he's got this really distinctive laugh. So then I was supposed to meet with Lauren, but they wanted me in the movie, and Charles Grodin, who I hardly knew, called Lauren and said, hey, recommended me. I go, he knows Lauren? They all know each other. And all of a sudden I realized all these people, they all knew each other.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a small world. I go, gee. So he recommended me to Lauren. He goes, take good hard look at this kid. And also Lorraine Newman from the original cast of In the Groundlings. She saw me understudy a play that over the summer that Phil Hartman was starring in at the Groundlings called Chick Hazard, Olympic Trials. And Chick Hazard was a character Phil did. That was like a spoof of Humphrey Bogart and as a detective, Sam Spade or Philip Marlowe. And then, So I got to understudy a part. It was Phil's idea. So that's why I became so close to Phil. I was so grateful to him. And that helped me get in the Groundlings. And so between Charles Grodin and Lorraine Newman, I mean, that's really what got me the show. Recommended me to Lauren because I didn't know. I learned later. Lauren's like, who? Okay, well, my friends are telling me this is the person.
Mm-hmm. That's insane. Then you had to go to New York. What do you see?
Yeah. Audition, and get.